Have you ever thought about what happens when money stops working? I don't mean a financial crash you see on the news. I mean something quieter, a world where your paycheck arrives on time but buys a little less each week, where your life savings, the money you worked so hard for, just evaporates day by day. This isn't a dystopian movie plot. For millions of people in places like Argentina, Turkey, and Nigeria, it's their everyday reality. And in these places, Bitcoin isn't a risky investment. It's a lifeline. Let me tell you about Anna. She's a school teacher in Buenos Aires. She saved her money in pesos, just like everyone else. But she watched prices in the grocery store climb so fast, the staff had to change the price tags twice a day. The number in her bank account didn't change, but her ability to live her life was shrinking. That feeling of losing control, of her future slipping away, became unbearable. So Anna did something she never imagined she'd do. She downloaded a Bitcoin wallet, not because she was a tech genius or a financial expert, but because she had lost all trust in her own country's money. Then there's Yusuf, a shop owner in Turkey. He watched his rent triple in just 3 years as the Turkish lira lost over half its value. He tried to save in US dollars, but then the government put new controls on banking, making it almost impossible to withdraw his own money. He thought about buying gold, but then they restricted gold exports. It felt like every door was closing. But Bitcoin didn't ask for permission. There were no forms to fill out, no lines to wait in, no one to tell him no. It just worked. In Lagos, Nigeria, the demand for Bitcoin exploded. Street vendors started exchanging it because it was faster and more reliable than the traditional banking system. People started paying for freelance work in Bitcoin, buying groceries with Bitcoin, even purchasing cars with Bitcoin. They didn't do it because it was trendy. They did it because, compared to the currency they had been forced to use their whole lives, Bitcoin was stable. It was predictable. Meanwhile, here in North America and Europe, how do we see Bitcoin? For many, it's a game, a speculative bet, a digital lottery ticket. And that's an easy conclusion to come to when your money works. It is easy to dismiss the alternatives when you don't have to worry about your bank limiting your withdrawals or your currency losing half its value in a year. But millions of people already live in that reality. And honestly, even in the wealthiest countries, we're starting to feel the tremors. Inflation is creeping up. Banks are citing security reasons to limit cash withdrawals. We're being nudged towards a digital-only payment world. There's this quiet, uneasy feeling that the ground beneath our feet is shifting. Here is the uncomfortable truth people don't want to hear. People don't adopt Bitcoin because they're trying to get ahead of the curve. They adopt it because they're late, because the system they trusted has already started to break. Bitcoin isn't an act of rebellion. It's a response. It's a logical reaction to currencies that can be printed into oblivion, to savings that melt like ice in the summer sun, and to financial rules that change without warning. But this isn't really a story about technology or finance. It's a story about trust. Money only has value because we all agree it does, as we collectively believe in it. When that belief starts to crack, people will naturally search for something else. Something that holds its value across borders, that isn't controlled by a single government or bank. And Bitcoin, for all its price swings, has one fundamental quality that no national currency has. Its supply is absolutely finite. There will only ever be 21 million, not one more. In a world where the cost of everything seems to inflate endlessly, housing, food, energy, that fixed supply isn't just a feature, it's an anchor in a storm. There's an even deeper, more personal layer to all this. When a currency fails, it's not just about losing purchasing power. It's about losing a piece of your identity. We define ourselves by what we earn, what we build, what we save for the future. When that is wiped out by forces beyond our control, it feels like a part of us collapses with it. The grief of hyperinflation is real because people lose their sense of control over their own lives. Bitcoin doesn't magically solve this pain, but it does give something back that is often the first thing to be taken away: agency, the freedom to save, to move, to protect what you've earned, without needing to ask anyone for permission. Looking ahead, say, to the year 2030, will cash still exist? Yes. Will banks still be around? Of course, national currencies will still be the norm. But quietly in the background, Millions of people will be choosing to store their life's value in something different, something borderless, permissionless, and incorruptible. They won't be shouting about it from the rooftops or trying to convert their friends. They will simply be opting out of a system that they feel has betrayed them. So you see, Bitcoin isn't a revolution, it's a migration. A slow, quiet, peaceful movement of ordinary people making a rational choice to protect themselves. And when you start to see it from their perspective, the question changes. You stop asking, why would anyone buy Bitcoin? And you start asking, what happens when more and more people realize their money is already failing them? If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing. We'll be exploring more of these human stories, not about price charts and wild predictions, but about the real lives being shaped by the silent, ongoing transformation of money. Thanks for watching.